Hey everybody, Stock Catcher here. Today in terms of trading, it was a lot less volume compared to earlier this week, right? The volume was lower, as well as there was a lot more chop action. But despite that, we still managed to find great runners. For example, in pre-market, there was a runner that ran over 200% BTTC, as well as after the open, we had Mickey, which was just going parabolic, right? So this is what I'm saying, where every day we find opportunity. It doesn't matter if it's lower, hot, cold, doesn't matter, right? So if you want to be a part of the team, I recommend you subscribe to the channel. Maybe become a YouTube member, right? I do live stream for the team, technical analysis, as well as I try to help out one-on-one. So today's shout out of the day would go to Guy Calb. So Guy today, I noticed he was doing really nice risk management. He was trying to focus on staying, calm in trading. I think that's a really, really underrated skill when it comes to trading, which would be emotional motion regulation, right? So shout out to Guy today. First stock for the video would be BBGI. So BBGI, this is a stock that made a really big move up, right? And then if you go to the daily chart right now, you see the setup, day 3 setup. This would be a inside bar, technical inside bar pattern. And this is one of my favorite technical pattern. But the thing with BBGI is that we really want to see more volume. I want to see over that $10 level with high volume, right? I mean, yesterday, if you look at what happened after open time, it did attempt to break out. I mean, it went to 1183, but then it kind of sold off. I mean, BBGI usually historically doesn't really hold its gains that well, but I like to float. This is a reverse split low floater, right? These have been really hot, so I'm going to be watching this one tomorrow, right? So next one will be FLGC. So FLGC, this is a cannabis stock. If you've been noticing after hours today, a lot of cannabis plays were just ripping face. We had Tilray, SNDL, CGC, MSauce. There's a lot more. FLGC, this is also a reverse split stock. So this could have a lot of potential. I mean, FLGC, looking at it, it is definitely more on the thin side. I think honestly it's too thin, but there's just something to keep an eye on, right? So next one will be Plug. You're talking about Plug Power. This is hydrogen fuel cell systems and electrolyzer play, right? So if you're talking about Plug stock, the past couple of days it has been ramping up slowly. The volume is also getting pretty nice, but there's potential key catalysts for a stock. You want to see progress under electrolyzer manufacturing, as well as the stock also has a high short flow percentage. So Plug could be a low-key type of nice swing trade, right? I mean, looking at it right now, it's crawling over the MA as well, right? The moving average. So next one is Rito. Rito, this is another reverse split stock that has been having really interesting action. If you check yourself today, every time the stock tried to make a big move up, it got sold off. And then if you look at what's happening in terms of the accumulation type of pattern, this is something to keep in your watch list for sure. Because remember Mickey, this stock Mickey was just reverse split and ended up just popping off. Rito, this is also a stock in the environmental sector. I don't see a lot of small caps that are in this type of environmental remediation or, basically commercializing tech. I'm talking about in terms of food industrial. So an interesting one. Next one is SMX. So this is the big one that started this whole movement, right? The reverse split mania the past 2 weeks, I mean. So SMX, this was a 8,000 or 10,000% runner. And then I said in yesterday's video, right, I said that this stock had potential today, and then it ended up going from, I think, 150 from video last night, right? It went all the way up to 272. So that's a really big move up. If it holds over 275, I think this could easily hit 300 plus again. But when it comes to these big runners that make a parabolic move, most of the time after this happens, right, a lot of people get bagged. Unfortunately, if you don't know what that means, that's when you buy high and then you get pretty much like it's red, and then you hold it for days or weeks or months, right? So SMX, I think a lot of people bought near that $500, and then unfortunately they might be holding some bags. So when this stock does initially go up, they'll probably try to sell it to break even or to take a small loss, right, in my opinion. So SMX, this one over that 275, I think this could go over 300. But I think it might be hard to go back over 500, but we'll see what happens, right? Because this stock has really low float, and on top of that, the company really likes to release a lot of news. So who knows? So you get the right formula, and then it could end up just popping off to 500 plus. That would be crazy. I think if that happened, like goes to 500, 6, 7, 1,000, then this market's gonna be like, it's gonna be crazy, in my opinion, right? So next one is AST. So AST, this is one that I talked about for a long time, right? I made a video on this around $1. It ripped to 10, and then it sold off, and then I made another video. It ripped to 20. I believe this was like summertime. And then right now it's back under $1. So for AST, this is a stock that there's a lot of social media attention, similar to Beyond Meat, similar to Open. I think a lot of people are holding this stock long term. And if you look at the price action lately on the hourly chart, I mean, it is kind of consolidating right now, right? Consolidating over that base level. I do think that the stock could crawl back over, but I said in the previous year, right, this is probably going to be a longer play, just considering the other data, like the float, as well as the structure, like how the company is going forward. And I mean, if you look at the stock, they recently had the reverse acquisition closed, right? As well as the major Bitcoin accumulation, as well as on top of that, the large pipe financing. So AST, this is going to be a really interesting one. Next stock would be DFLI, Dragonfly Energy. So this is a stock that made a really good multi-day setup, and then if you go right now, it's kind of curling over. I do think DFLI has another potential for a run. If you go to daily chart right now, it's pretty much like flagging, right? So DFLI, this is a stock that's in the energy storage battery system. And you also want to factor in the recent potential catalyst, right? You're talking about material supply chain, news potential, or large OEM distributor contract. DFLI, this is one to add to your watch list, guys. So next one is KSS. KSS, this is a brick and mortar department retailer that is really hot around this time of year, right? The holiday season. You want to watch potential catalysts, whether it's margin recovery or whether you're talking about the comps, right? The same store sales or multi-day setup. If you go to KSS chart right now, on the daily chart, this is setting up really nicely, right? It made that big move up, and then it broke over that previous resistance, and then now it's definitely holding at support. So keep an eye on KSS, guys. Next one is ASTI, Ascent Solar Technology. So this is a reverse split stock that had the news recently, right? This is in the aerospace, and they had the thin film news. This is really interesting sector, right? We're talking about contract wins in aerospace or defense. I don't see a lot of small caps in this sector. Most of this time when you're talking about space stocks, it's usually more large caps or more expensive stocks, right? So ASTI definitely has my attention. Next stock will be NUAI, New Era Energy and Digital. So NUAI, this is a stock that has been running a lot this year. It went from all the way from the pennies all the way up to almost $7. It went to almost $8, right? So this is one that's right near that support level. You want to monitor the stock for another move up, potential multi-day setup, right? NUAI. And then last stock for the video would be ASBP. So ASBP today had really nice volume up selling off towards the close, right? But then if you look at it right now, it is holding those levels. This stock is on the higher float side. It's close to 100 million. But when it comes to penny stocks under $1, the float, I notice most of the time it doesn't even matter, right? Because when a stock has high volume, like let's say a stock is 80 million float, 20-cent stock, I notice that it moves just like a low float. Because these stocks that are cheap, a lot of people could buy a lot. Because think about it, if a stock is 10 cent and you only have, let's say, $1,000 account, you can still buy a lot of shares, right? Compared to, let's say, a stock is $20 stock or $8 it's much harder, right? You know what I'm saying? So this one you gotta watch, guys. So that's pretty much it for the video. I try to make it short today, right? Because today it was more definitely slower compared to the previous weeks. I mean previous days. So tomorrow should be pretty nice, guys. I'm gonna see you tomorrow in the morning. Let's have a great time, guys. All right, Stock Catcher signing out. Have a great night.